Our active weather pattern rolls on across the Bluegrass State. Potential is there for more rounds of strong thunderstorms. We'll put a track on all of those and talk cooler temperatures just ahead.
Meth is dangerous enough on its own, but deputies in Breathitt County say they're trying to determine if someone has been mixing it with another deadly drug.
What started as a request for gas money ends with a man being arrested. Now, police say he unknowingly turned himself in.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. WKYT News starts now with breaking news.
Good evening. It has been a mystery for the last year, but within the last hour, Lexington police announced a grand jury has indicted 2 men for the murder of a Marine.
Police say both 23-year-old Quincinio Canada and 31-year-old Dewan Mulazam were already in jail on unrelated charges. They say the men killed Jonathan Price and injured Price's wife last June. Our Miranda Combs is at the live desk with the breaking details. Miranda?
Amber, the indictment came down just a short time ago, charging both men with murder, robbery, and assault. This comes a little more than a year to the day when Jonathan Price was killed outside the Austin City Saloon. His wife, Megan, was shot during the robbery. Both Canada and Mulazim were arrested last year on unrelated charges. Lexington police say the pair robbed the Quality Inn on Newtown Court and Barnes Insurance on Winchester Road. And police say they also committed 2 other robberies in Lexington in June and July, but today they were indicted for the murder of Jonathan Price. We spoke to his mother yesterday in an exclusive interview about what it would mean to get an arrest.
I guess it would make it easier, but like I said, it's just the fact that they couldn't hurt someone else. So in that way, it would make it easier.
She also talked about the good relationship she and Megan had with police during this year-long investigation. At the live desk, Miranda Combs, WKYT.
Miranda, thank you. We'll have much more coming up on WKYT tonight at 11. Also breaking tonight, police say they're on the scene of a deadly crash on Interstate 75 in Madison County. It happened about an hour ago in the southbound lanes near mile marker 76 in Berea. Police say southbound Interstate 75 is shut down in that area. Again, we're talking about Madison County and Berea. Police have not released any other details. We have a crew on the way to that scene. Tonight, another round of strong storms has fired up across parts of central and eastern Kentucky, and the storms have been severe at times.
Let's check in now with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey. He shows us what he's tracking right now on the First Alert Defender. Chris?
A little earlier, we had some severe thunderstorm warnings over the past hour and change or so. Things have calmed down just a little bit, though we're watching a line of storms into northeastern Kentucky. Lexington Metro on Defender, fairly calm and quiet. Had some booming thunderstorms a little earlier this afternoon, dumping some heavier rain. That's been one of the calling cards, mainly some rain and some lightning with the storms that are out there. Coming at us in a couple of waves, though the storms now from Jackson down toward Boonville into Owsley County are beginning to diminish a little bit. That extends back to the northwest. Still some raindrops into Berea. Nothing across the Lexington Metro, though, until a cold front makes its way through here later this evening. Anyone still fair game for a little pop-up shower or thunderstorm. Heavier rain and storms now lining up along and north of I-64 from Moorhead toward the Ashland area. It's some heavy rain producers that we're seeing there on Defender. That's ahead of our cold front that has the hot, steamy air ahead of it and a cooler brand of air that is coming in from the northwest as of right now. Look at the temperature trend showing up north of the Ohio River. It's 82 Indianapolis. How about 79, 75 in the northern parts of Indiana and Ohio? Yet it's upper 80s and low 90s into western parts of the Bluegrass State. The humidity today absolutely off the charts. Temperatures barely getting out of the 80s in most areas, but the humidity factor giving us a heat index right now in Lexington at 96 degrees. I'll come back in a little bit and show you how the temperatures take off and then settle down. That may lead to some stronger thunderstorms that highlight the 7-day forecast in a matter of minutes.
Chris, thank you. They have been battling a meth problem there for years, but tonight police in Breathitt County worry it could be taking a frightening new turn.
They say they've heard of a more potent kind of meth, and they fear that could lead to more deaths. Victor Puente has our top story at 6.
Deputies tell me the number of meth lab busts in Breathitt County has gotten into the double digits this year. Now they're trying to determine if an already deadly drug has gotten even more dangerous. Since January, Breathitt County deputies have found more than 10 active meth labs across the county. They say each time they aren't exactly sure what they're dealing with.
You go out and you find ingredients a little different in each lab, you know.
Clemens says because of the size of the county compared to the size of their force, they rely on the public for tips about those labs.
A lot of people want to tell, but they don't want to get involved. They want to tell that their neighbor's cooking meth, their cousin's cooking meth, but they don't want to tell their name.
Because of a recent tip, their investigations have taken on increased urgency, with a story going around about some meth mixed with another deadly drug.
That's a rumor on the streets that there was a bad batch of meth cooked up with bath salt, and it's led to a lot of people being in the Jackson Hospital, other hospitals and stuff. But we can't, at this time, we can't verify that was it, you know.
He says he doesn't know if that specific meth has led to any deaths, although they have had some overdoses in the county. He says they're waiting for toxicology reports on at least 2 people who went to the hospital recently, as well as a recent death.
If we save one life in the county, it's worth it.
In the meantime, they'll continue to take those tips and target those cooks.
And make no mistake, if they're cooking meth or selling dope, we're coming at you. We're coming for you.
The number for that meth tip line is 606-317-8477. In Breathitt County, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Deputy Clemens says last year they raided more than 20 meth cooking operations, including one that had 27 different labs.
Having a burglar in his home was bad enough, but a UK student says the crime led to a bizarre discovery. Bailey Shoptaw lives on Arlington Avenue in Lexington, not far from campus. He says when he woke up this morning, he saw a burglar standing over his bed. Shoptaw says he chased off the man, and he doesn't think he stole anything from the home. But a short time later, he says he found a trash bag in his kitchen filled with women's underwear. He says the burglar left it as he ran off. Shoptaw says he's been a target of burglars before.
It's just weird, like, to think I have to come back here and sleep here tonight because it's happened to me multiple times, and just that picture's still in my head. It's going to be in my head for a while, just seeing that guy standing over me.
Shoptaw thinks the burglar got in through an unlocked door. So far, police have not made any arrests. As for the trash bag, police aren't sure where all the underwear inside came from. A proposal to raise the minimum wage in Lexington has been put on hold for now. Today, an Urban County Council committee discussed the proposal, which called for raising the minimum wage to $10.10 an hour. The proposal had sparked a debate among those for and against it, but Sam Smith tells us why the council has decided to table the issue.
If a business owner wants to pay their employees $10 an hour, they can, but they won't be forced to anytime soon. Kim Duffy has been doing it at her store for several years now.
Our employees are really pleased when we let them know that we pay $10 an hour because I feel it's long overdue.
She was happy to hear the plan to raise minimum wage to $10.10.
The girls that come in from college and they have to pay rent and they have so many expenses.
Critics of the minimum wage increase say small businesses would suffer, and so would workers. They say a small percentage of workers in Lexington would lose their jobs.
Increasing the minimum wage helps some workers, certainly hurts other workers.
There was a lot of talk for and against the increase at the Budget, Finance, and Economic Committee meeting. And in the end, the committee voted to table the topic. The city of Louisville is involved in a legal matter surrounding their own minimum wage increase. Leaders here are now on standby, which is disappointing to some on the council.
This is within our reach. We can make real impact within our community.
In Lexington, Sam Smith, WKYT.
The minimum wage in Kentucky hasn't been bumped up since 2009 when the federal government increased it to $7.25. In March, a WKYT Herald Leader Bluegrass poll found raising the minimum wage as the top concern among voters in the upcoming governor's race.
Today, Democratic candidate for governor Jack Conway releasing a plan he says will create jobs in Kentucky. Conway unveiled his plan during stops in Louisville, Campbellsville, and at Sealing Life Technology on Red Mile Road in Lexington. Conway says he wants to build on Kentucky's homegrown industries, including agriculture, horses, and whiskey production. He wants to phase out the state's portion of the inventory tax to lower business costs and encourage investment. And he wants to expand internet access in rural areas.
But we are also going to invest in this infrastructure of the 21st century, which is high-speed broadband access. In order to generate the jobs of the 21st century, we have to have the technological infrastructure in place now to allow ourselves to grow.
His opponent, Republican candidate Matt Bevin, says he supports right-to-work legislation that allows employees represented by unions to opt out of paying union fees. He also wants to revamp the state's tax code to create jobs. Also today, Bevin called for the state to remove a statue of Confederate President Jefferson Davis from the state Capitol rotunda. This comes as lawmakers in South Carolina discuss whether to remove the Confederate flag from the state Capitol grounds. Bevin says that flag should be removed, and it's equally appropriate for Kentucky to remove the statue of Davis, who was a Kentucky native. That's according to Bevin. Senator Mitch McConnell said he welcomes the discussion.
So I think it's appropriate, certainly in Kentucky, to be talking about the appropriateness of continuing to have Jefferson Davis's statue in a very prominent place in our state capitol.
Jack Conway says he's willing to talk about the statue's future, but says he needs time to think about whether he would support having it removed from the rotunda.
An unusual arrest out of Berea. Police say a man unintentionally turned himself in. Berea police say 40-year-old Yulin Sams was wanted in a theft case. They say they arrested him after he showed up at the police station asking for gas money. Miranda Combs explains.
This past Sunday around 7 in the evening, Berea police tell us Yulin Michael Sams needed gas money. Sams went to a church for help. Someone there gave him a voucher and told him to take it to police to get it stamped. When he did, he unknowingly turned himself into police.
We have to run a check on those folks before we can give them a voucher. So we ran his information and discovered that he had an active felony arrest warrant.
The Madison County Sheriff's Office had been looking for Sams. He's charged with stealing about $3,000 in checks from the Girl Scouts.
Apparently, Mr. Sams had tried to cash these checks at a Shell gas station at one point.
And it gets worse for Sams.
A short time later, our officers came out and ran a check on the license plate on the vehicle that he had driven here and discovered that the vehicle was reported stolen.
He's now charged with stealing this 2014 Ford Fiesta. We're told it belongs to Hertz Rental Car in Richmond.
This gentleman rented a vehicle back in January and had never returned it.
Now, what started out as a Sunday drive turned plea for help leaves Sams with 2 felony charges.
It's pretty uncommon for someone who's wanted and driving a stolen vehicle to come to the police department. It made it easier for us that day, but it's not something I've seen before.
In Berea, Miranda Combs, WKYT.
We tried to talk to Sams from jail today, but he denied our request. Certainly not what you see every day. Quite a surprise for people living near a busy Lexington road. Police say a bull got loose.
It did. It happened on New Circle Road near Bryan Station Road. Police say the bull escaped by knocking open the door of a trailer on New Circle. Lexington police and animal control chased the bull. They were able to guide it to a field behind the Bryan Station Inn. They eventually caught it on Northwood Drive and returned it to its rightful owner.